Well, good afternoon, everybody. This is David Ransom, your host with the Connected Table Live on W4CY Radio and iHeartRadio. We are in San Antonio, Texas, deep down in South Texas, in January 2015, kind of enjoying a little bit of warm weather and getting away from the Northeast cold. I am here to talk kind of about San Antonio. It's a wonderful city. It's a very old and historic city, not only for Texas, but for the United States and North America really as a whole. But a great place, and it's also really kind of one of the fastest growing cities, I think, in the country at this point, being up at now the number 7th largest city in the country. Believe that. I never knew it until I was told that. And it's one of the fastest growing cities in the country, a great destination not only for tourism but also for people to move to. And we have with us today Aivaliotis, who's the brand manager of the City of San Antonio's Convention and Visitors Bureau, who's going to kind of give us a rundown and talk to us a little bit about San Antonio and kind of what's happening here, because it's really a very vibrant city, and we all know it's got a good basketball team. So welcome to the show, Eva.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure. You know, I don't know a lot about San Antonio. I've been here a couple of times. I enjoy it every time I do come. It's got beautiful architecture downtown and wonderful old and new. And it's a great place. Obviously, it's the home of the Alamo, which has had the famous battle that everybody knows about. But San Antonio is a special city in a lot of ways. Not the least of which is the fact that it's really one of the fastest growing cities in the country. Kind of tell us about, what's bringing people here now, and not only that, just bring them on vacation, but what's making them stay.
Sure. Well, you definitely touched on San Antonio's deep history, and it's true. There's a lot of different cultures here. People don't realize there were German settlers here, there were Spanish, in addition to Mexicans. So there's a wonderful depth of history, of culture, beautiful examples of Spanish colonial architecture. Preservation is very, very big in San Antonio, repurposing and such. And it just gives a great character to the city. It gives a great charm. And it's something that just people find really appealing to make it a travel destination they come to often, and choosing to live here. It's definitely not only its charm, it's a very affordable city, and we have 300 days of sunshine a year.
Well, you gotta love that. Well, we don't get that in New York, that's for sure. It's interesting how you talk about the different cultural influences that kind of make up San Antonio, because everybody thinks of Texas and they always just think Tex-Mex, but you bring up German influence, a lot of German influence. And one of the things I think of when I think of Germany is beer. And one of the biggest influences in San Antonio for a long time, for over 100 years, was the fact that one of the great beers of Texas was anchored here, which was the Pearl Brewery. Mm-hmm. And they no longer brew beer here now in San Antonio, but the Pearl Brewery complex, or as I like to call it, the campus, has been turned into a real kind of cultural center for the city of San Antonio now, and people are flocking to it. There's a number of restaurants there that are anchored there now. There's all kinds of different coffee shops, and there's a cultural garden there, and there's coffee shops, as I said, and a great independent bookstore and whatnot. It's really kind of become kind of the face of the new San Antonio, hasn't it?
It has, and San Antonio was historically a major brew town because of the German immigration in the late 1800s. Pearl was certainly a part of that. The Lone Star Brewery, which is just south here on the river, half a mile away here from Pearl, which is now the San Antonio Museum of Art. It really, there was definitely, it had its heyday. And back in the day, people came for three things. They came to visit the Alamo, they came to visit the Riverwalk, and they came for the breweries. And it slowed down a bit in toward the end of the last century, and now it's definitely seeing a revitalization.
Yeah.
With Pearl being developed, with different independent craft breweries being opened, some on the east side, some on the south side, the beer trail that existed in San Antonio is coming back to life.
Yeah. Well, it's a great concept, and I think the beer trail is really being kind of given a new life also by the brew pub that's about to open in the Pearl Complex, Southerly, which is going to be a great spot, anchored by Chef Jeff Balfour.
Yes.
and Brewer Les Locke. One of the things I find interesting about San Antonio is, and probably one of its most famous things, is the Riverwalk. It's the river of just goes right through the middle of San Antonio, but it's been kind of turned into a park, and there's beautiful restaurants there, and people can stroll up and down it every day. It kind of reminds me of being in Barcelona and walking up and down the Ramblas. Except that there's no water on that, and there is here. But it's a beautiful park-like setting, and everybody seems to love going to the Riverwalk, and it's really one of the things that San Antonio is most famous for.
It is. We say it's the heart of the city, really. And the downtown loop is, of course, the most renowned part of the Riverwalk, just over a mile, hotels, restaurants, shops. But there's actually two other areas of the Riverwalk that are newly restored. That's the north end, which we call Museum Reach, and that's 1.2 miles. Comes up here to Pearl. You can take a river barge taxi. You can walk, bike. It's a really beautiful landscaped pathways. And then on the south end, for 8 miles, just opened a couple of years ago, is our Mission Reach. And that is one of the largest urban ecosystem restorations in the country. It's been restored. You can kayak down there. You can run. We have bike rental stations. Can't take the river barge because it's got some different natural features that really make it more of a natural preservation area. There's portals down in the Mission Reach that lead you to each of our 4 Spanish colonial missions. So we're really reconnecting the river with each of the original missions.
That's great. Well, it's a beautiful part of San Antonio, and really one of the things I look forward to when I come here. It's always nice to kind of be able to stroll out of my hotel room or wherever I'm staying and be able to stroll along the river, because it's such a beautiful park-like setting, and it's right in the middle of high rises, but you don't even know they're there. It's really just a great asset for the city. I wanted to touch on what you think brings people to San Antonio. We did a little bit of that about that as far as tourism, things like that, and kind of what's going on culturally. But people are moving to San Antonio now, too. 7th largest city in the country, growing population every year. What's bringing them to stay?
Well, San Antonio really is diverse in the fact that it has something for everyone. It's a wonderful city for families. It's safe. It's easy to get around. It's affordable. And it has something for cultural, culinary folks who are interested in opening up a business. It's very easy to do that here. There's a strong interest. Or just someone who really wants a city that's on the rise and wants to be part of something new and make an impact. There's a wonderful number of young professionals here that are making an amazing impact on the city. And it's easy to make a name for yourself here.
Yeah.
It really is. You don't get lost in the shuffle.
And it's a small community, too. In a
it
way,
is. It's tight-knit.
I was talking to somebody last night in town, and I was talking about the city of San Antonio, and she goes, "It is a city, but it's more like a village. It's very close-knit, it's very tight, it's very small, easy to navigate, and you never really feel like you're in a city of over 1 million people."
Right. We're at 1.4 million now, and it really doesn't feel like it. We say that we have a small town feel in a big city. We think that's a great asset.
It's a great spot. Maybe not so great in August when it's 100 degrees out, but it's certainly nice in January when we're coming down from the cold weather in New York to do some shows. Let me kind of touch on one of the things that you were saying earlier about the growing culinary scene. Food is very important to the city of San Antonio, growing by leaps and bounds. So is the cocktail movement, has kind of found an anchor here. And I want to touch on the fact that one of your big programs and kind of big destination programs that's bringing to people to San Antonio now, started 4 years ago, is the San Antonio Cocktail Conference, which is a kind of a mixology conference based on Tales of the Cocktail, which was started in New Orleans about 12 years ago. But San Antonio Cocktail Conference is really making a name for itself, bringing people to the city. Some are coming to stay. It's got a great cocktail movement here in San Antonio and a great dining destination as well.
It does. It's certainly one of the events that we're very fortunate to have that really helps propel us to a national level as far as our food and beverage. The talent that it attracts is astounding. It really is. and just the concepts that are being brought here to the city, and not only that, but the partnerships that are being created with our local mixologists and some very well-known bar programs, along with these national barmen that come in, are really amazing. And it's become a wonderful event, and all for charity, which is wonderful.
Right, and actually it was started by a group involved with Bohannon's, the great restaurant here in town, and all the proceeds go to charity. Mm-hmm. So it's not just a charitable component to the structure of San Antonio Cocktail Conference, but everything goes to charity, which I think is a great thing.
Right, yeah. And it's got a wonderful footprint. The various events are at different venues, both downtown and around the city, a lot of wonderful historic venues. There's really something for everyone in the cocktail conference. And so I think it has a really great wide appeal.
Yeah. One of the things I find interesting about San Antonio is that, like a lot of cities that have been around for a long time, cities start downtown and then people start to move away. And they start to move to the suburbs, and then downtown kind of becomes a little bit of a forlorn area for the city. I think that happened to San Antonio at one point, but people now are starting to move back downtown. There's a tremendous amount of renovation of the old historic buildings and hotels going on downtown, and people are now coming back downtown to live, work, and play.
Right. The core of the city is really up and coming. And the catalyst, or a few of the catalysts for that really are the revitalization of Pearl and what we call River North from here downtown. As I said, it's only a mile. And then Southtown, directly south of downtown, a great arts community. There's wonderful studios there and a lot of restaurants now, all different kinds. They have a First Friday art walk. And so it's a little fun and funky. And with those, it really has drawn people back to the core of the city. It's very exciting to see the development and to see these people who are investing back in something that was, or different parts that were maybe neglected for a little while.
Yeah, because there's wonderful Art Deco and wonderful kind of turn-of-the-century architecture and things like that. The Majestic Theater is one of the most beautiful theaters in the country, mm-hmm. And beautifully renovated at this point. Really lots to see. One of the newest projects that's gotten kind of a full makeover has been the St. Anthony Hotel, which was opened and called the Waldorf Astoria of the Prairie, I think it was, something like that, right? Well, when they opened it in 1902, and it's over the last couple of years had a complete and utter gut renovation and completely redone inside and back to its full original glory. It's a beautiful thing to see.
It is. It's the golden era is back, and it's going to be reopening in March, and as a Starwood luxury, and we're very excited about it.
I bet. There's a Kimpton opening at the Pearl?
There is, actually, right next to where we are right now in the brew house. Yeah. Hotel Emma is going to be going in. It's going to be opening this summer, 2015. And it's going to be a beautiful boutique, very culinary-driven property. They're going to have partnerships with the CIA here and many of the restaurants. Mm-hmm. There's a culinary concierge. No two rooms are alike. It's going to be amazing.
Well, that'll be fun. I like Kimptons. They're one of my kind of go-to hotels if I have to travel around. It's a great chain. So.
And what's great about Pearl is that they have kept everything from the brewery. When it was shut down, everything was left as is. So all these wonderful parts of the brewery system, all the old buildings, they have a warehouse where they have everything and they're repurposing. And so all the architectural details are really, really fascinating throughout the property.
Yeah, well, I actually look forward to coming back and seeing it next time I come to town. I tend to come about once a year now, so it's a good thing. Maybe I'll just have to make it a habit. We have a minute or so left. What do you want to tell people about San Antonio? What's the word that you want to get out? Other than come visit.
Of course. Of course. Well, I think that there's an energy here and an excitement that really is just contagious. Yeah. And it's really, it's a beautiful community, and everybody has the same passion, and we're all working for the same thing, and that's to make this city the best it can be.
Well, I think you're starting to steal a little thunder from Austin up north, to be honest with you. Everybody says go to Austin, but I'm thinking San Antonio is kind of a nice place to go myself.
It's we're in a great place.
Yeah,
we
good.
really are. It's a great time to be here.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to coming back, and thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having
Really
me.
a pleasure having you and getting to know a little bit more about the city down south.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and we have a lot of resources at visitsanantonio.com.
Yeah.
Easy to book a trip and get some trip ideas.
Great. And you guys probably have a Facebook account and Twitter feed and all that stuff too happening.
It's all visitsanantonio.com.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. Pleasure to see you and have you on the show, and look forward to hopefully doing it again sometime.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Thanks so much. And folks, this is David Ransom in the Connected Table Live. You can hear us on iHeart at any time or Wednesdays at 2 o'clock Eastern Time on W4CY Radio. Thanks so much, folks, and we'll talk to you soon.